I'm ZoWilliams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss a woman's ass. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
ZoWilliams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? It's part 2. I know. We slapped a hornet's nest with a hockey stick Monday, and we got it buzzing. First off, let me just say this. I want to acknowledge Dr. Joy DeGrew. When I tell you she took off from the free throw line with a blindfold on, she won the dunk contest, the intellectual dunk contest. She killed on the first installment of our series on racism. If this is your first time tuning into the Voice of Reason, please understand we want to push the envelope with the discussion. This is what's wrong with America today. We're afraid to talk about shit. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about race. Don't talk. How is this going to be the land of freedom of speech and the land of free expression? And we're still afraid, to have discussion. So let me just say this. We got a crew in the building unlike any other, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to deal with part 2 of our series on racism. Now, as you already know, this is a caller-driven show. And what's important is you guys call in and express your thoughts and ideas about what we're talking about, because there's no way that we're intellectually infallible, and we need your feedback. So call us at 323-230-4445. That's 323-230-4445. Now, let me introduce the crew who's in the building right now. She's wild. Her hair is out. It's frizzy. She's sexy. She's biracial. It's curly. She has no hips with a fat ass and tits. It's Whitney Tabor. Team Tabor, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Okay.
Well, there it is.
Let's just
guys.
keep it real.
Nice to meet you.
This is
Hey,
real.
boo.
Let's just keep it real.
Hold
She's
on.
a millionaires.
Hey, what's goody? It's Wednesday. Hey, I have been waiting for this because, like, Monday, if y'all didn't listen to Monday, you can re-listen to Monday's show. If you guys didn't catch part 1, just go get that download the Dash app and listen to part 1 because, like Zoe just said, it was heated and I loved it. So we're going to do it again today.
We're going to do it again.
We're going to do it. We're going to get under your skin. I'm excited.
Right next to Whitney Tabor, there's comedian, actress, intellect, big bottom, juicy, delicious, bodacious. You know who she is. Without further ado, Aarona Lopez in the building.
Ah, yes. Hi there, folks. How art thou? Aarona Lopez checking in. Thank you for checking back with us. Tuning in to this 2-part racism series. We got in there, we got crazy, and I got more stuff to say. It's the one and only one with the delicious derriere making everybody stop and stare. Chicago up in here. And we got special guests.
Aw, shit. And let me just go right here real quick. I play hoop with this dude. He's white. He is challenged on the court. However, his bank shot is legitimate. I mean, he has no athleticism.
That's
Can't outrun an ant. But he's in the building, talented, intellectual guy, writer, author. I mean, hip hop historian, good brother all the way around. Soren Baker, the touchdown maker. What up, Soren?
Everything is good, Zoe. Although a few people would disagree with your assessment of my athletic acumen.
Come on,
but
man.
that's all right.
I've played against you. I know what it is.
It's all good. It's all good.
You went to college.
It's all good.
Athletic acumen.
You feel
Well,
I love it.
You know, I could have played basketball in college, actually.
me? Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
White man can't jump. That was based
It's
on a
all
true
good.
story. Let's get our caller in. She's here. Veronica Conway is on the line. VC, what's up?
Hello, beautiful people. Good evening, good evening.
Hey, Ronnie Con.
Yeah, Ronnie Con.
Hey, y'all, what's up? What's up? Let's get it.
Oh, hey, I love to have you here. Who else do we have on the line right now, bro? We got our phone lines? Yeah, this shit is about to get crazy right now. We have a special guest that I didn't anticipate that would be joining us today.
That
But
looked
the
violent.
homie is here. Legendary Foxxhole fraternity
That is true. That's true. That's true.
in the building.
That's true.
Johnny motherfucking Mack.
What up, ZoWilliams? What's up, Aarona? What's up, man? What's up, Steve? Right?
Soren.
Soren,
That's
same
close.
thing.
You know, we all look the same.
Right.
You know,
White,
it's all good.
SSS. You know, as long as it ain't KKK, we good.
Yeah.
So listen, Johnny Mack is in the building. Let's get to it right now. Today's focus on racism will deal with police brutality.
Ooh-wee.
All right. So part one dealt with exactly what the fuck is racism. What is it? Right? This week or this episode will deal with the notion of racism within America's police force.
Okay.
Now we got to sit down and call out the black police officers who turn an eye to what they know is obvious racism. I mean, there's something really big going on right now. One of Obama's homeboys is the mayor of Chicago.
Tough job.
He left.
Yeah.
He left Obama's, administration to become. It was like a slam dunk to become the mayor
Right.
of Chicago. He just came out publicly and told the Department of Justice, we don't need you to come investigate Chicago. Now, first off, that's some gangster shit.
I was about to say,
that's
that's
some
a-
gangster shit to
that's a
say
G
because,
move.
because you probably know that Chicago is corrupted.
So
yes.
that's what he's saying. Why investigate something you know is corrupted?
Right.
Don't
but,
waste that money.
but what he's saying is don't
Exactly, waste that
come
money.
here because it might uncover even more than
A
just
much
the
bigger
racist infrastructure.
Yeah.
And to have the balls to get on national television and tell your homie, the president, hey, dude,
What's up, Prez?
you know what's up with us. Don't send nobody over here.
Yeah.
That's
This
gangster.
been going on for decades.
That's gangster.
Yeah.
That's gangster. Are the police corrupt?
Yes.
Are they racist?
Yes.
Yes.
And if they're racist, what should be our
Oh, that was
response?
quick. Show's over. Thanks, though. Appreciate it.
No,
I don't know how your show works, but I used to work with you. Yeah. When I used to work with you on Foxxhole, you just could interject whenever you felt like it.
Well, that's not how it goes.
Well, I must have said there's no such thing. You should have called me down here.
Johnny Mack, it's a
I'll
new
eat a
ball
nice
game.
salad on my way over. It's no such thing as a good cop. So that's why he said there's no need to investigate it because you know all cops are crooked. Why can I say that? If you didn't commit the crime, let's go down to Darryl Wilson and Ferguson, and he shot and killed this Mike Brown. The cops that didn't shoot him covered up, which really makes you
Complicit. Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Accomplice.
An accomplice to the crime. When he shot that kid and they took him, 4 police officers took him to the hospital. It don't take 4 people to take him to the hospital. Darren Wilson. Isn't the ambulance supposed to take you down there? If it was you was so beat up and disfigured, they let him go home with his gun for a day and a half. When a police officer commits a crime, when he uses his gun, I'm not gonna call it a crime. When he uses his gun, they're supposed to take it off his hip, put it in a bag, and submit it for ballistics.
Evidence.
But he took his for a day and a half. The police said that they didn't have videotape or the camera to record his statement. Here's the thing: ZoWilliams know me, Aarona know me. I've been interrogated. The fucking camera is sitting there waiting on you.
Right.
They said they didn't have pen and paper to take down his statement. So everybody in that police department covered up for that guy. So therefore making everybody in that police department
An accomplice.
an accomplice to that murder. Wow. We can do that there. We can do that in Chicago. We can do that in South Carolina. We can do that all over the country. Therefore, there is no such thing as a good, honest cop. All cops are corrupted.
Eek. So I'm just going to say
now,
this.
you send that to CNN.
I'm Aarona Lopez, and I stand by that statement.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny Mack. Let me get back to the business of setting this shit up. Johnny Mack then took us back to the Foxxhole.
No, because you said it's the police department corrupted, right?
Right. But and what you just said was perfect. I mean, it framed it up great. So now my question is, what is our response to the next Freddie Gray or Tamar Rice? Or what's our response? What's the most effective way to not only expose police brutality, but undo it, break it down? Because racism is a problem. I'm not one who believes that racism is going to be around forever. There are a lot of people that say, you're never going to get rid of racism.
You're never going to get rid of racism.
See, Johnny's one of those people.
Because white America constantly hide or deny or say it's not true. It's like an alcoholic. You can't get cured unless you say, I'm Johnny Mack and I'm an alcoholic.
There it is.
Yeah, but America's changing, though.
No, it's not. It's changing for the worse.
Nah, it's changing in the demographics, in the composition of who's in America is changing.
But the infrastructure,
but the way they treat
at
blacks
the top
is not changing.
That hasn't changed.
The same beating that Freddie Gray got. He didn't get beat, but whatever happened to him happened way back in the 60s, the 50s,
what
40s,
happened before that?
The 1860s, the 1840s,
keep going.
the 50s. When we first got here in 1551, so we was in indentured service then. So and then that happens ever since then. It's never going to change because we keep saying as blacks, oh, it's going to change. It's going to get better. You saw that bullshit where those pastors was with my man Donald Trump, and they came out saying great things. Donald Trump hates you. Does he employ you?
The check cleared.
I've been to the Trump Towers, and ain't no niggas in there. And if it is, I don't want to be a servant to you. So why am I going to back him up? Why am I going to support him? And that's what's wrong with the black people. We be like, oh, it's going to get better. Oh, times is changing. No, it's not.
Man, interesting. Aarona?
I mean, I agree. I think we're coming into a stage where everybody's so concerned about being polite and being politically correct that nobody wants to be real and say what needs to be said anymore. The fact that Bruce Jenner
Tell me
has
two
so
things
much
that need to be said right the fuck now.
That Bruce Jenner's a man.
That's number one.
That's number one.
Piggybacking on what she said.
Let's just go right there.
Bruce Jenner has balls.
Yeah.
I don't understand the relevance,
I have no
but continue.
Dolphin Olympic shorts.
Bruce Jenner is a granddad.
Yeah, basically with 6 kids. The point is this. What needs to be said is racism does exist and black people need to be economically empowered. Period.
We are.
Wow. Whitney?
The two things that I think that need to happen is, first off, just say sorry, white people. We know that you weren't the ones who loaded the slave ship, but come on, you look like
You're
those
talking about white
people
of today.
Yes.
Right.
White people of today, just say, damn, my bad, guys. Let's try to make
My
it work.
bad, guys.
My bad, guys. Just say that, all right? Just be 100.
That's
and
funny.
then
Wow. Okay.
But they are loading the slave ships. It's called the penitentiaries now.
Yeah.
I was incarcerated with a guy that got 6 years for stealing a box of ice cream sandwiches.
love ice cream.
First offense?
I didn't get all into that. I was trying to fight for my life at the time. But
That's hilarious.
he got 6 years for stealing a box of ice, which is it's anything on $500 is a misdemeanor.
I think it's 300, but
300.
I believe. But
So how do I get 6 years for that?
that's what I'm saying. That sounds very.
So they are loaded
egregious.
the slave ships, but we call them something different now.
Yeah, penitentiaries. It's a privatized prison system, which is
Just think about when you
documented.
shackled, it's the same metal. It's the same material that they used in to shackle me from when they first brought us over here. They're doing the same thing now.
But everybody is so literally single-minded. If everybody would really realize that, guess what, guys? We all have to live here together. Unfortunately, you're white and I'm black and I'm purple and you're blue, but we all cannot
Well, that's
work
the problem.
together.
It shouldn't be unfortunate. Everybody's just different.
We have to work together. I can't sit here and say, "Oh, I didn't do it, so I'm good."
Let me get Veronica in here.
Get on down, Veronica.
Veronica, because I asked a question and none of them dealt with it. So let me just come back to
gave
you.
you your two.
You did give me
I
two.
tried to
Is
do
Veronica
it.
in the bathroom? Where's she at?
The Veronica's she from the Bay, Pimp.
Oh, I don't see her.
Yeah, she on the phone.
She on the phone, Pimp.
Oh, my fault, Veronica. My
So
bad.
Veronica, let me ask you
So,
this. Let me ask. Let me frame it up.
Okay.
Another Freddie Gray happens tomorrow. What is the response?
I would say, can I give a little bit of context?
Sure.
And then I'll frame up the response?
Mhm.
Okay. So I think we have to understand a few things about the Fraternal Order of Police, which is the largest lobbying body, the largest, most effective, most potent lobbying body, 312,000 cops across the country. Why do I know this? Because my daddy was a Panther, and when they came trying to take my daddy out of prison after 40 years, they lobbied the U.S. Attorney General and blocked his release. That's how powerful they are. I had to go up against the FOP in the national media, and it's no joke to go up against the Fraternal Order of Police. We have to understand that it is a fraternity and a brotherhood that is backed by politicians because they enforce either the protection of their property or the stealing of ours. Okay? That's their job, is to protect that. So I think we have to understand that in context. So now, one more piece of the context is we have to understand that the cops and the justice system is supported by a tax base, right? So if you own a home and you're considered a citizen because you pay taxes in the area, then you influence the cops and you influence the judges and you influence all that. The largest transfer of wealth happened in this last recession because black folks finally got some homes and then they got taken out from underneath them. So we don't have any influence in the tax base. So the first thing is that we're approaching it from the wrong perspective because they're beholden to their economic interests. That's why they're not beholden to us. That's why they're operating shamelessly, brazenly. They're flexing, and they know they're flexing. Right? They're saying, what you gonna do, nigga? That's really what they're saying. What you gonna do, nigga?
Wow.
Because they understand that they're not on our payrolls because we don't own property, so they're not beholden to us.
So we don't have any leverage.
We have to understand we don't have any leverage to understand the economic environment in which this all exists.
That's a
cold statement.
That is a cold and I always come back to this. We always are at the end of a fucked up situation, the short end of the stick, as they say, right?
Right.
We're at the short. Hey, right here. Answer that. Short end of. Wow. Short end of the stick, and we're always responding from a space of, well, what are we gonna do, and what are y'all gonna do for us? But Veronica just iced the whole cake by saying, police. Their job is to protect the private sector and industry, right? That's what they do. Don't break into this building. Don't break into this business. The police gonna come and get you for doing this. We don't have any interest there. Did you guys see that article that just came out that said only 5% of African American households have $350,000 of disposable cash?
That's a lot. I don't believe that.
Only 5% of African American
households. They didn't ask me.
You might be in the 5%, Bobby.
That's what I'm saying.
Johnny.
Who was doing this survey? They didn't. Who are they asking? Are they going down to?
Johnny said they didn't call me. Shit,
I
got
from California, and I know
Johnny
anybody.
said I got the bread.
Yeah, they didn't call and ask me. Who are they asking? They may go to low income areas and do a survey. Because I was just talking about this earlier. Like I think it was Mark Twain said there's three types of statistics: lies, damn lies. No, he said it's three types of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics. You can conform a statistic to say anything you wanted to say.
That's true.
So who? I mean, every white person ain't rich. Every Asian person ain't rich.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
so. Who are you asking if they have $350,000 of disposable wealth? Who are they asking?
But the point that is clear: a lot of black people don't have homes. A lot of black people renting.
That don't mean I ain't got $350,000. Maybe my credit ain't shit.
But the point is,
that's a black.
No, that's true.
That's true.
But the point is,
I'm working on my credit too.
The point is, real estate, the
that.
acquisition of real estate is an indicator of wealth in America. And if black people don't own blocks and own, not rent, we don't have any leverage with the police that police the community.
But that ain't got to do with the racism. Because even if I had, I have a very successful and wealthy friend. And as he drives to his home, at least once or twice a month, he get pulled over and stopped. They pulled him over and stopped him for riding his Rolls Royce. How'd you get this Rolls Royce? What the fuck? How did you get your police car? Somebody gave it to me.
Who you sneak name dropping?
I didn't drop no names.
I know, but I said
Yeah.
sneak
I'm just
name
saying.
dropping.
I have wealthy friends.
It sounds like an interrogation.
You see what I'm saying? But why is you ask? So that has nothing to do with racism. It's your money, because it's across the board. They beating the shit out of everybody's rich, poor, black. I think racism is different from police.
What?
Because to me, a cop, even a black cop, which is no such thing as a black cop, because that law in the Constitution never been removed.
That brings in something very
Back in the
interesting.
70s, 60s, 50s, and 40s, you could work with the police force, but you couldn't enforce the law. Here's what happened when I went to jail. I got a chance to read for 46 fucking months.
This nigga's a prison lawyer.
I really
Paralegal.
was. I really was.
Paralegal
You'd be
Johnny
surprised
Mack.
the case I would take for some cigarettes and some oranges.
Right.
Let me read that.
Inmate counsel. Let's
but
get
it's
Johnny
true,
Mack
so-
in here.
He's like, you got some Newports? I got you.
You got some new. If you
I
had
got
Newports,
you.
they do a lot of push-ups back in the day.
Yeah.
But that's police. What they're serving upon us is different from racism. Because even like today's racism ain't trying to kill you; it's just holding you back and say what you can and
It
cannot
ain't trying
do.
to kill you.
No,
Well,
Trayvon
police-
Martin's
hold
people
on.
would be like,
The police are trying to kill you. I'm sorry, not trying to. The police are killing you.
Oscar Grant's people would be like,
They would just deny me a loan or deny me the fact of moving to their neighborhood. They ain't gonna shoot me in the fucking face. Well, the cops would see me and like, what you doing in this neighborhood? Nigga, I live here. Pow! I'm shot in the face.
wow.
So we're
Soren,
talking,
it's a big difference.
Johnny Mack brought up something interesting, and which has also been brought up earlier today, which is the concept of the black cop, something that KRS-One has addressed in his music.
I remember that.
We got that record.
Now, here's a quote that KRS-One gave to CNN within the last week, I believe. This is the problem with the United States, KRS-One says. There's no leadership. A leader would say police brutality is an oxymoron. There are no brutal police. The minute you become brutal, you're no longer the police.
Boom. I saw that.
And KRS-One then says, so what we're dealing with out here, as he points to the window outside where he's being interviewed, we're not dealing with police. We're dealing with a federally authorized gang.
I've always loved KRS-One.
Yeah, now KRS-One, when you go back, you look at Boogie Down Productions, he had on the Blueprint album, he had Who Protects Us From You, which deals with police brutality.
Yep.
And then later on, Return of Boom Bap, he had Black Cop,
Yep.
and he had Sound of the Police.
Yep. Boom, boom.
So these are songs
They
that...
still giving that to you. When you pull you over, that's all they give you. That's all they give black people. We don't get the whole no boop, 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 boop. That's all we get.
That means get your black ass over here.
We get the cheap siren.
Yeah, that's all we get. We don't even get the. You don't even go from red to blue. We just get the
We ain't
blue.
wasting
So
no
the
money on you
question
niggas.
becomes,
Boo.
That's true though.
do you guys agree? And if so, why or why not? Are we dealing with a federally authorized gang?
Of course.
Yes.
Because
Listen,
people
Johnny
are
Mack.
not strong enough to stand up and say, "Fuck you, this is illegal, and I'm not taking it."
Listen, Johnny Mack.
We are, but we'll get killed
Let
for
me
saying
give you
that.
this. Let me give you this. Do you guys remember the Hollywood bank robbery a few years back
Right there on off of Lancashire.
when those guys had on full body
You're talking
armor?
about North
Yeah.
Hollywood.
North Hollywood, and
Yes.
them motherfuckers came out.
I remember that.
Listen,
I remember that. It was vicious.
I'm a conspiracy theorist in the sense that
You believe in
you know
conspiracies?
they make conspiracy seem like you believe in fairy tales.
Yeah.
I don't think conspiracies are fairy tales at all.
That's
They're
why they're not
cover-ups.
conspiracies.
Right?
Yeah.
So I believe the way the American government works is everything has to look like it's by a particular book. In this case, the book is the Constitution. They already knew we can't use this Constitution for long. Where we're taking America, the New World Order, we can't be beholden to this shit. So they set up particular incidents to fucking create the necessity to change the rule. So remember
September
Hollywood?
11th, for instance.
Remember Hollywood, North Hollywood? Them
Yeah.
motherfuckers was fully, and the argument was, the police are not properly armed against this type of attack.
Right.
That's true. That
So
was true
guess
at that
what
time.
happens next?
They
The
are
Pentagon
armed.
steps in and goes, well, we'll give you all of our surplus militarized shit. Tanks, semi-automatics, battle ram, all types of shit.
Daryl Gates style.
So when Ferguson pops off,
Come on now.
you see a different type of police force in play for protesters who are unarmed.
Although I will say, if you guys remember the video from Baltimore when that cop car drove down the street, he turned right around when he saw what was going down.
What you mean?
They was tearing up Baltimore.
Yeah, they were tearing it up, and the cops came and they left because they were, I presume, afraid.
Listen, I got to do this real quick. Our special guest just called in. Ladies and gentlemen, get to your phone lines. The number to dial is 323-230-4445. The big homie with knowledge on this information. Man, this kid right here, I call him a kid because I'm an old man. But this kid right here is straight changing the way young kids vibe and take in hip-hop. He's a throwback to when hip-hop had a message.
Yeah.
This dude right here is probably one of the most influential young underground rap artists in the game. Without further ado.
That was a lot of ado.
Yeah, I like it.
What you do about nothing?
I knew he was going to
Dag, Johnny Mack.
Damn
Let the
it,
man
Johnny
speak.
Mack. Ladies and gentlemen, Immortal Technique in the building. Come on, man.
Peace.
Yes.
So I don't know if you've been able to hear any of what we've been framing up before.
I heard the brother talking about the surplus equipment that actually predates the raid in Los Angeles. I remember that the gentlemen that the brother was talking about were people that were armed not only with above level 3A body armor, but they also had drum magazines in the rounds on AK-47 with full metal jacket equipment.
Right.
Wow.
That right there. Not only is that a hard person to kill, that's like the boss on the last level of a video game. You know what I mean, you got to get a headshot through to even, stun someone. I mean, you don't even know if they were wearing a helmet or a mask. The point that the brother was bringing up, though, about surplus equipment being given to the Pentagon, from the Pentagon to police departments is absolutely true. There's a book by a young brother called, I guess he's young to you, called Radley Bilko, and he talked about this particular relationship between the military entity that is, Department of Defense here and police departments. They said that they had all this surplus equipment from Iraq, and they figured they're not doing anything with it, so they sold it wholesale to these departments. The problem then becomes, what does a department need a tank for? What do you need drones for? Well, there's an old saying that, if every problem, if you only have a hammer as your only tool, then every problem looks like a nail. And they feel like that's the only thing that they can do. The problem then becomes not just with the constitutional interpretation of law, but then the problem then becomes, it says, for example, there's a young girl who was recently caught. They called her like a baby-faced drug kingpin, right? Like a young white girl whose father happens to be a DEA agent. Right? And when I posted this on my Instagram yesterday, and I asked the question, I said, do you think you would be treated the same way this woman is? And people commented on the language that was used within the article. They said, oh, this adorable drug kingpin, she must have had a hard life. Her parents are going through a divorce. I've just never heard that sort of humanization of black and brown people that have had the same thing happen to them. I've never heard, man, he had such a hard life at home. We shouldn't give him 20 years in a cage. But then the question becomes that kind of goes beyond the present argument we're making, that this woman should be, to the letter of the law, punished along with everybody else and thrown in a dungeon. Right, but then the question becomes, is that reformative? Does that do anything? I was incarcerated when I was a child. That didn't do anything per se to create a better me. The vast majority of people who are locked in a cage and thrown away, they don't learn more social skills. They don't learn extra behavior, because the justice system that we have is not a reformative justice. It's a punitive justice.
Right.
Because people fear the police. How often do the police break into an apartment and jump in front of a bullet? Very rarely. How often do they burst in on a rapist during the process? Very rarely.
Right.
Usually what they do is they find the people that are responsible, they find evidence, and then they pursue these people. So we're talking about revenge from the state. That question, when posed towards drugs, because this is, mind you, I only chose this topic because it is the one where we can prove statistically that racism is involved in the process. The other ones, we have to go off of people's testimony. We can go off of incidents that have happened, videotape. Yes, that's incredibly informative. But here is millions of pieces of data that show a pattern and a process spanning decades in which we know that this is not an effective measure to correct the problem. And yet when we find a variable that's independent within it, that's not the dependent variable. The independent variable in this case would be someone that doesn't fit the mold, someone who's not, as they term it, a disposable human being.
Mm-mm.
What happens when a person like that gets put into the machine?
Right.
Why does the machine stop immediately so we can remove this person before they go through the grinder with everyone else? When we say that's not the grinder's not going to help this person. Well, is it not going to help this person because it works differently with white people than it does with black people? Is it not going to help this person because the system doesn't work when you're rich and it only works on poor people? How is it that this actually functions? Which brings in the greater question that I think we all are going to tackle and kind of comes back to what your program, I guess, essentially wants to ask the listener, which is the fundamental philosophical question that black and brown people ask themselves when we hear all this. Was this system even designed for us? Right? We discuss working with the parameters of the law, the Constitution, petitioning government. How do we petition a government that never had us in mind as citizens, that only had us in mind as property towards the conception of this nation?
God damn. Listen, we got to take a quick break after that hot lava flow against your earlobe. This is what it does.
I love it.
The Voice of Reason, Hot Button Radio, Dash Radio. This is what we do here on The Voice of Reason. Get to your phone lines, 323-230-4445. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, more Immortal Technique, as well as tune into this clip right here of me and Xzibit talking about racism. We'll be right back. My question to you about racism, number one, is what's your definition of it?
Ooh, well, racism to me is I blanket it. I'm very logical. I don't like to get too in depth into things that I'm not well versed in. Mm-hmm. So when I see ignorance, I label that all in the same box. It is a defiant, energetic push towards an ideal that is only beneficial to insecure emotion, insecure feelings, and it is pent on oppressing all things that interfere with that, all things that threaten their way and their ideal of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be on a small scale or the heavy duty, full blown racist scale. Right. But I mean, it goes in all directions. Everyone has prejudice and racist views in one way or another. Exactly. So, I blanket all of that in the same realm. It is all ignorance to me.
What do you think about the prevailing story that black people blame white people in the system and the man too much versus white people being in denial that the system does give them benefits? Mm-hmm. So what's your stance on that? Do you think black people are justified in blaming the white man, and do you think white people are justified in just being in denial of the whole system that's in place?
I mean, that argument will continue to persevere through all of our generations, But I think there is a unique perspective that has to be, found on everybody's own time and viewpoint, Mm-hmm. and that is unique to me because, I don't look at whether you are black, white, or whether, you did something to me or my ancestors, or, what I'm saying? It's like, are you an asshole or not? Period. Right. I could dwell on the past. I could dwell, they say if you don't know your past, you don't know your future. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But, the things that are happening to us and around us, you know what I'm saying? It is very disheartening. But if you want to survive, survive as an individual, and survive as a family man, then, you know what I'm saying, that's a choice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the people that try to interfere with that, you know what I'm saying? I really can't fuck with you or get into your mindset of why you hate me. I'm not going to expend that energy to figure out why you don't like me because of the color of my skin.
Right.
And that's how I kind of like look at, you know what I'm saying, the blame game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not stopping me, and I have the right to move around that, you know, and do things that my ancestors before me were not. You know what I'm saying? And so with that limited space that I have, even though the opportunity, I may have to work 5 to 10 times harder for these opportunities. At least I have the chance to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how I choose to look at it. Like, if you get in my way and you try to burn a cross on my lawn or something, you know what I'm saying? This, you know, you're gonna get an AR-15 round. You know what I'm saying? That's
there you
know,
go.
you're not gonna fucking terrorize my family. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't like the way you uppity nigger. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I do have respect for those guys. You know what I'm saying? In a weird kind of way, because I would rather have that guy who's gonna tell me to my face that he don't like me, compared to the guy who's going to, hey man, yo, I'm down, and you know what I'm saying, and then, you know, it's the worst fucking possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this racism comes in different forms, fashions, and you can blame who you want to blame, but really, it really boils down to ignorance and, you know what I'm saying, opportunity, and, you know, people taking advantage of people. And it's still gonna be that way forever.
Yo,
That's a hell of a clip right there.
Hey, we back in the building. This show is crazy. Get to your phone lines. I'm telling you, we're gonna get some callers in here in a moment. The number to dial is 323-230.
The line's going crazy already.
Look, I thought the break was going to be a little time for me to digest, man. Nah,
Yeah, the break
Xzibit
was
came
crazy,
in.
right?
That shit was
The
crazy.
Immortal Technique record came in. I was like, man.
That was dope.
Listen, so I'm back, right? I'm back, and I want to talk about a couple of things. Let me just say this. The illusion of inclusion for black people. Could we be the ones that are perpetuating racism by seeking to be included? Can we mute somebody's mic?
Yeah, somebody fighting on a, they fighting with their phone?
Somebody's mic. We got to mute that.
Did they drop it in a bowl of Rice Krispies? What happened?
I don't know. But I think the illusion of inclusion, that diversity thing we talked about before. If you're in pursuit of diversity in a system that is clearly racist, then you're participating in the racist infrastructure and actually kind of validating its existence and fortifying it by your participation in it.
I agree.
What do you mean by your? Who do you mean by you? Are you talking about black people?
Talking about black people.
And you say that they, by believing in it, say that
The
again.
illusion of inclusion.
Trying to be down.
Trying to be down. If I get a good job, if I get a degree, if I have this great experience, and I can move to Pacific Palisades or Malibu,
I'm gonna move there.
then
I'm
I'm good.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
good.
I'm next door to Johnny Mack.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna
with
ask you
it.
for $5 worth of gas and get on down there. 'Cause I don't want to live with the rest of these niggas. It's true.
I'm just saying, is the illusion of inclusion
I'm
part of
confused
what-
by what you said. The illusion. I'm confused by that.
Because you're not never really with them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You talking about the sellout?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not never really with them. You can move in the neighborhood. Remember, Quincy Jones told me this before too. He was like, when he first moved into Bel Air, there was in the contract for when he bought his home, it was like, niggas not supposed to live here. Literally, that neighborhood, y'all not supposed to be here.
Well, guess
I've been to
what?
his house, and when I went to his house, I felt like I shouldn't be there. Like, shit, I don't.
Johnny Mack's a
I
comedian.
work at the Foxxhole. I can't be up here with this dude. Why they take the taxes out? I can't. But
I don't know,
I'm confused by that.
Well, but he
Because
basically
the word illusion is throwing me off.
Well, basically he said, but
Your
what-
inclusion is not real.
So my thing is, why? But I'm not supposed to do what I need to do. I don't need to better my life because I'm a sellout. Like, I went to school, I grinded, I worked really hard, just like the white kids, the Asian kids, and the black kids.
What school did you go to?
I mean, it ain't, it's cool.
I graduated at Negro State University.
Okay, and I got a degree, so that's all we need to know, right? That's all we need.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I don't think it's cool.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure that Johnny understands what I'm saying.
Okay.
Our dream for success, right? Our success dream, the American dream, was not authored by us.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you understand? So we think because we achieve the dream that was given to us as a dream to aspire to,
it's a great dream to inspire.
That we're somehow a part of the movement. And we find out when we break into our own house and get arrested for it that we're not.
So this is basically like, he's not saying that there's something wrong to aspire to be great or to want nice things or to desire for the finer things in life, but there are a population of people who, in their attempt to do that, they think that it puts them on the same level as the white people that they know, that they're going to get the same, because they feel like it's really based upon the hard work or the honest standard.
I feel that to be a tad bit different because only the individual knows if he's selling out us or not, if he's selling himself out or not. He's not really selling us out. He sells himself out. That individual knows, because when he go home or when he work, like I was at a situation yesterday and it was like a NBC event and it was like very little to no, maybe like 5 black people. And at the end of the fucking show, they came and asked me how I felt. So I said, first of all, I don't even know this white lady, so how did you pick me? Well, you're trying to get some diversity in this. I said, well, here's how I felt. I felt every comment you put up there was a piece of shit.
Oh, boom.
You guys doing, I'm a stand-up from way back from 1991. I first got on stage in 1991 up in Oakland, California. You know what I'm saying? And I came here, I moved to LA like in 1995 when niggas were getting 3 minutes on stage. And you would get $5, $7, $5, $7, and $10 was your pay, and that being a check. And you would go to the bank and the lady would say, and how would you like this? Bitch, it's $7.
You get a stern congratulations if you don't get the $5.
And it's $5 cash.
So that's where I come from. So when I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Johnny, you had something to respond to Immortal's statement.
Oh, yeah.
You've been to prison.
Yeah, when he said about being incarcerated and it wasn't there to rehabilitate you or you came out a lesser person or something you said about.
No. I said that was my experience. Said that black and brown people, listen, as a young person who's been incarcerated, part of my interruption, sir, I just have to correct what someone thought that I said. My responsibility is not to brag about it. Do you understand? You listen to radio, you all are in radio, you're all in entertainment and media. When you hear it and when you hear about a person's experience in prison, most likely you hear them using that as a tool for making people think that they're scary. But in reality, from a perspective psychologically, it's a defense mechanism. When people are poor and they live in a ghetto, what is their defense mechanism? They certainly can't turn to the police, so they have 2 objections. They have the mob, or they have themselves to say, I'm such a scary person that if you touch me, I'll kill you. If you look at me, I will stab you. Right?
But if I'm in a situation when I need...
Being a person that was young and incarcerated, that doesn't give me the right to brag about it. That gives me the responsibility to educate young brothers and sisters that are within that place now. So that's actually what I do presently as opposed to just rapping. And, of course, I have to give praise to Harry Belafonte and Carmen Perez, people from the Sankofa organization, because Harry Belafonte, I want to say, was one of the first people that really believed in me and hooked me up with this job to teach. Originally, They had asked me in the organization if I wanted to be a person that worked with young kids with music. But I said, listen, I'm a person who was incarcerated, so I want to work with young people and make sure that our system benefits them. So what I do technically is go there and I teach creative writing, but I also teach ancient history. Because when we talk about Egypt, when we talk about Mesopotamia, and when we talk about Sumeria, sir, we're not talking about black history. No, we're talking about human history. That is what those children need to understand. And when they see that, the old Malcolm X quote comes to mind. As long as you can be convinced you never did anything, you can never do anything. If you believe that your originality is from the bottom of a boat, and that's where you come from, as opposed to being the creator of animal domestication. You were the first nigga to tell a dog what the fuck to do, and it actually did it, right? The illusion of inclusion is a beautiful theory, my brother. But if they authored our dream, who the fuck authored their dream? Who authored Christianity? When we talk about Christianity as a white man's religion, I used to get in arguments with people in prison all the time and tell the Muslim brothers, hey, I love you, I respect you, alhamdulillah. But at the same time, brother, you cannot call Christianity a white man's religion.
Ethiopia.
It is a faith that was co-opted because it originates from the Middle East and from Africa. Christianity went into Africa before it ever went into Europe, before it ever touched Rome, before it ever knew Greece. You know, when you talk about the Ark of the Covenant, where is that buried? In Ethiopia.
Right.
Brother, when people read this, when they do that knowledge, I think that is incredibly productive. But at the same time, brother, 500 uncles do not equal one father. So me and the rest of the brothers could do everything that we can do, and the homies can raise you. But when you are just raised by the streets, you know two options, right? Two options, which is, you know, either I fight or I flight. You have to realize that there's options, not just A, B, but C, D, E, F. When you have a father, when you have a mother, when you have someone that cares about you, I am everything that I am now or ever will be because someone took the time to love me and say, no, I'm not going to leave you in that cage. You're going to come home and you're going to have a fucking regular life, or don't come here. But I expect something from you. Something is expected from me. See, that's the thing, brother. I know that they may at some point have tampered with our dreams. But I know that we authored their dream. So the tables are totally turned. You want to talk about Islam? Fine. We can talk about the nature of how a white Christ is a fallacy. But if you look, peace be unto him, the Prophet Muhammad, the area that he comes from in the Arabian Peninsula used to be a colony of Ethiopia only 50 years earlier. So we can talk about racism in the Middle Eastern world as well, because Arab slave traders were the ones that
they changed the story too, for sure.
And also, it's important that when we talk about ancient history, that we dispel a lot of these fallacies. And one fallacy that I constantly run into and that I have to set especially conservative Republicans straight with is this idea that, oh, quote unquote, you black people sold yourselves into slavery, you Indians sold the land. No, the kingdoms of West Africa were controlled in a colonial relationship through the Dutch, through the Portuguese, through the French, through the British. When they didn't have a king that was responsive to their slave trade demands, they replaced him. In other words, if you won't play ball, I will find someone that will. Similar to the mythology and the legend told by white supremacy that indigenous people sold Manhattan for $28. No, there was a tribe in Jersey, and they were at war with the people in Manhattan, and they went to them and petitioned them to buy their land. It is the equivalent of anybody who's listening to this program. If you ever had beef in the street with someone, imagine if the city of Los Angeles or the city of Atlanta or the city of New York said, hey, we want to buy your enemy's project. Can you sell it to us for $20 million? And you think to yourself, God, I've hated these niggas my whole life. I want them to be homeless. I don't want them to be here. I want them out. I want them gone. Never thinking for one split second that one day the government may say, hey, someone that has beef with you, I know that you're not a major player. I know you don't really own this person's project, but I want you to sell me their block. This is the mythology that we have to deal with on a regular basis, and I think that mythology has poisoned any conversation that we can have, because the reason that racism exists in America is because of their cowardice. Do you understand? They couldn't just admit that they took us because they won. If you research and look at ancient civilizations, whether it's Rome or Greece or even the Caliphate, they didn't take slaves because they were black or white or green eyes or red. No, you lost the war. Therefore, your women will be our servants below the men, and then the men will be our servants who will fight our wars for us. It didn't matter. The problem is that when you look at ancient Greece or ancient Rome, their ancestors of the people that live now didn't have the cancer of racism. Therefore, if you look at their society, you will find African emperors of Rome. The first person to have a division between church and state was not America, the United States, or any European country, was any Northern European country. It was actually an African pope, Gelasius I, who wrote a document called the Duo Son.
Immortal.
This is a very, very important thing, because I know we have a lot of religious people of color in the building, and the question then becomes that he put forth, why would you want to combine church and state? We must always keep that divided, because we can never combine something that's pure, which is the holy worship of God, with something that is fundamentally corrupt, which is government. Government is mired in conspiracy, the filth of paying people off, human sacrifice, people being executed. That's what you want God to be a part of. This is a black man explaining to the whole of Christendom why that's wrong. If we don't know who that person is, how can we reclaim the power that we're supposed to have?
Wow. Listen, you got to
You are dropping so many bombs right now, and we appreciate you.
Listen,
chills,
Immortal,
man.
you got to let us breathe. Let us come up, get a little air.
The phone lines are going so crazy right now.
I was just going to say, my experience in my incarceration was in favor of me. That's what I was going to say. I learned
How many years did you do?
I like to say 46 months. I don't Because when they give you time, they don't say years. They give you 71 months, 91 months, whatever. They don't say.
It's like having a baby.
Okay, Johnny, don't.
But what happened to me
repeat
was
your number.
Immortal. My thing was it taught me better. Because I went in there, I was ignorant and unlearned. I got a chance to learn how to read, how to write, to apply myself. And what it taught me, like when I get out of this, the belly of the beast, as you say, the cage, I said, I'm not coming back to this motherfucker ever again. So when I got out, I made sure I'm not going to do the things that would get me back in there. So even the fact that I can read or talk on this subject, I owe it all to my incarceration. It was unfortunate that I was incarcerated, but the blessing was that I came out with something. And I was able to I was able to come out and I found out who I was. I was funny. Even when I was incarcerated, I was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh shit, I can get on stage.
Okay.
They got stages in jail?
No, when I got out.
Okay, pimp. I
did join the baseball team. I did play on the basketball team, and I did join the boxing team.
You do learn a lot of life-saving skills in there. I'm not going to say that that's not available for people that want to learn. It's just like, for example, we'll talk about the big homies.
But when you said the defense
Jay-Z
mechanism,
had no father, right? That doesn't mean that a person that goes through that struggle will necessarily understand the value of women and therefore place them above. He's not. You have to understand. Just like he's not the rule, he's the exception to it. Brother, you're not the rule. You're the exception to the rule. You're a person that took a horrible situation and then made it something better, probably because either the family was there or somebody was there, or you thought in your head, I have to be a better man for my children, but you had a motivating factor because of some pre-existing thing that was there. Probably someone who loved you and said, no, we're not going to let you go. We're going to take whatever it is that's wrong and we're going to fix it. You're coming home to us. Somebody loved you. Somebody wanted you. My thing is when
I wanted me. I figured it out.
But he's saying it had more to do with
who you are
than the system you were in.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this real short. I'm going to let you do your thing. Like one thing that God blessed me with, he blessed me with the ability for comedy and to write, but he gave me the ability to encourage myself. I was just talking to a friend of mine. They want her to be a judge. I said, I never needed a pat on the back. I never needed anybody to say, Johnny Mack, you can make it. I never needed anybody to say, Johnny Mack, he wasn't going to make it. Not even my mother, my father. My father was a construction worker. I never needed, and I worked with her, Aarona, several times. I've never needed anybody to tell me you can do it. I have the ability that God has blessed me with to encourage and support myself. Go ahead.
So we're talking
Love
about
the white, though. Love the white.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Well, one thing I was going to say is my I guess I've never been to prison, but my father is a white man who works in the prison system. So I grew up kind of in the prison system because that's how my dad fed his 3 half-black children. So I remember now hearing from you, I really was mad when I was in high school because my school couldn't get funded for books because they were giving the money for our school system to the dudes who are in prison. I'm like, wow, there's 900 murderers, rapists, and thieves that are getting better education than me, and I was upset. But now being able to listen to what you guys are saying, and now I'm like, wow, these are some great, educated, strong, amazing men. I'm not mad anymore. You feel me? Like, I was really like, man.
Well, I appreciate you calling me amazing because I thought that of myself on several occasions.
Well, she looked right in my eyes. I'm looking at you.
She looking right at me.
You're doing all right.
It had to be me.
Okay.
Man, listen. Immortal, this is Aarona Lopez. You dropped hella bombs, and there was 3 things that you touched on specifically that related to what we were talking about with the illusion of inclusion and just identity as well. I'm not dressed well. I'm dressed like Ronda Rousey understudy up in here. I don't have a nice white on like Whitney, but you talked about identity, creativity, and inclusion. And in fact, in identity, you was talking about teaching everyone who they are and where they come from and the power of that. I don't know if you heard the show that we did, a couple of days ago, but one of the things I was talking about is the reason why racism exists is because white people's inability to just be honest about the pain or the trauma that they've caused. And it's kind of like the pathology of a sociopath. Sociopaths and psychopaths, they never admit wrongdoing. They never identify with themselves being at fault or the culprit. And same thing in victimization. When people don't recognize how they've been victimized or that they are victims at all, they just continue to repeat patterns without, doing any self-introspection, or if there's no one there to tell them, hey, I see that you're doing X, Y, and Z. I used to do the same thing. Right. And when I did X, Y, and Z, it was because of this. Is this what's happening with you? And then y'all meet the common bond. I think those are really the things that are going to not erase racism, but definitely help address the problem directly. People need to know who they are. And then the second thing, people need to be creative. Creativity, I personally believe, also as a stand-up comic and just an artist, creativity is something that gives everybody the sense to create their own worlds and to believe in themselves. Creativity shows everybody that regardless of what it is that they're doing, they have the ability to control their destinies and use their imaginations. And the more that we tap into that, the more we can transform people's mind states beyond their blocks.
You had said something about the white folks or the people who's doing these ill is not admitting it. I think that they like even McDonald, they did admit that McDonald, the guy,
Laquan McDonald in Chicago.
They did admit it, but in the meantime, when they admit that they done something wrong, I'm already dead.
Right.
So we got to get to the situation where you admit that you're doing wrong before I die. See what I'm saying? Like it took them fucking 400 days to release this tape that they had. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They could have released that long, and they've already paid the family like $5 million, right?
Yep.
Right.
But in the meantime, I'm dead.
Right.
So we got to get to the situation. Racism is never going to die.
No.
Because the white man don't want it to die.
Hold on. Let me. Fuck
I
that.
don't want you to admit that. Oh, I was wrong for killing Johnny Mack. I'm already dead.
Fuck that.
Admit that before I get shot.
This is what we got to do. Fuck that. We got to kill that idea. I mean, I talked to Jeff Schimmel. Hey, I said, I don't think racism is going to end, Zo. Johnny Mack just said racism is never going to. Yes, it can.
It's not.
Yes, it can. Because any idea
what I'm gonna say is gonna sound mean as fuck.
Any idea that was created
because they're
by
evil. The white guy is evil.
Any
Since
idea,
the beginning of his creation, he's been evil.
But it's
you
our
don't
participation in it too, though. It's our participation in it too.
Because we know they're evil.
Their racism would not matter if there wasn't 100 black preachers ready to sit down and talk with Donald Trump. Their racism would not matter if we got up from the bargaining table with these motherfuckers.
And playing victims,
if we get up from the bargaining table with these motherfuckers, at the end of the day, they still gonna hate you, no matter what we say.
And that's fine. You can hate me at your cribs while I'm building the kingdom over here.
Yeah,
but as long as we're willing to sit down
listen, I'm saying,
and fuck with them,
listen, I'm saying,
racism is gonna be in
I'm
play.
not saying I'm not saying that we're gonna accept it, but if it's gonna be a fight, I must have an opponent to fight. And if you go back through the history of the white man, I can't go back as deep as my man just did. I ain't gonna know all that shit. But everywhere the white man has been corrupted. He's corrupted, destroyed, and killed and maimed since the beginning of fucking time.
Straight up.
The same white dude killed Christ.
Let me ask a philosophical question that was posed to me.
Don't get philosophical with me,
by
brother.
a great gentleman named John Henrik Clark. I know that there may be some people out there that are familiar with him and that are not. He's a great Harlem historian, Dr. John Henrik Clark. He came to a meeting for some of us young brothers, and he asked us a question that fundamentally changed my mind, and it relates exactly to what you just said just now. He said to me, tell me, young brothers, who is the original devil, the white man or the black man? And there were people there who were of all faiths, all religions, walks of life, and hands went up. Some people said, oh, it's the white man, it's got to be, right? And old Dr. Clark laughed, right? He had glaucoma, he was blind. He laughed, he goes, He goes, no, young brothers. He goes, the black man is the original devil. And I said, people said, why? How could that be, Dr. Clark? And he said, listen to me very carefully, young man. Once upon a time, about 200,000 years ago on this earth, there were no such thing as white people.
Thank you.
Do you think that brothers really waited 100,000 years to kill one another, to steal from one another? When you look at these things, these are human problems. When Cain killed Abel, was that the first instance of black-on-black crime? Isn't black-on-black crime simply the crime of proximity? Was World War I white-on-white crime? If you ask me a question, this is the most interesting part, because it's after an essay that I wrote called "White People Need Revolution Too." You have to understand, when the cops kill somebody from our community, we always get that, oh, you don't care, you know what I mean? The premise is not that we don't care. We care. It leaves a hole in our community. It leaves a hole in our soul. The difference is that if a person of our own skin color, our own tax bracket kills another person, 9 times out of 10, they're going to jail. But if the person that kills us has the protection of the law or the complexion to make the connection, sometimes they don't get the death penalty, or in the case of a police officer, sometimes they don't even get the indictment.
They don't even get indicted.
So then it begins the question, where do we go from a purpose of having a society that's totally self-sufficient, to being totally a dependent society where we've intertwined it. Harry Belafonte said something very important to me, and I'll leave it for people to talk. He said that Martin Luther King jolted him one day when he turned to him and he said, Harry, I fear that I am integrating my people into a burning house.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he told me that, I said, damn, I think the house is still burning.
Yeah. It's definitely.
Has it ever stopped? Has it ever stopped burning? We've had 20 years of peace since the Republic was founded in 1776. We didn't become a democracy until 1967 when everybody got the right to be a man. But realistically speaking, brother, think about it. Has it ever ended?
I'm the one that said it didn't end. I'm saying no.
Right. Right. And
you said something, Immortal.
Statistics and numbers that agree with you, brother.
You're right. And this is gonna sound
That's
weird.
Johnny
I got to
Mack.
go for a break.
I got to go for a break.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
You don't believe in breaks?
It's no such thing as black on black crime. There's no such thing as that. It's just called crime.
Proximity crime. Proximity crime.
It's just called crime.
Proximity crime. Because
it don't matter what color.
And that's a big point. Proximity crime. If you go to Little China, proximity crime is big. There are more Chinese motherfuckers fighting against Chinese motherfuckers than niggas fighting against Chinese people.
And they don't call it
Chinatown.
Chinese on Chinese crime.
Right. If you go to the white neighborhood, it's more white people fucking committing crimes against each other than there's black people committing crimes against them.
My man,
it's proximity crime.
The man in Colorado at the Batman premiere, they didn't call that white on white crime. My man over here that just did the Planned Parenthood, they don't call that white on white crime.
Right.
They don't. Only time they call it. When a black person kill well, if I'm in a neighborhood, like I'm from Richmond, California, it was like 95% black. If I'm a committed crime, it's 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be with somebody black, and that's all that's there. So why you got numbers on black crime? What's the white on white crime numbers?
It's equal. It's comparable.
Well,
it's comparable.
It's
comparable.
create-
But listen, hey,
fear,
everybody
man.
listen.
Hold on.
Everybody listen.
Hold on.
Everybody listen.
Immortal.
People been killing each other over Christianity, not during the Crusades. But then
You didn't hear the break part, did you, Immortal? You didn't hear that?
No. What did they say?
We're going to take
He
a
said,
break,
no.
man.
What they say?
We're gonna take a break.
We're gonna take a quick break, man. We gotta soak in some of this. Listen,
Knowledge, man.
before
Get
we
some
go,
water.
true or false? Bad cops have been protected by the Brotherhood of the Boys in Blue,
Of course.
in much the same way as the Vatican has protected the crimes of bad priests. When we come back, goddammit, 323-230-4445. The voice of reason. We'll be right back.
Both scenarios, they all sucking dick.
What's your worst racist experience? I know you've been through some things, so.
Okay. All right. So I tour a lot in Europe. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, here we go.
I tour a lot in Europe. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was a tour bus, and we were leaving at like 2 a.m. It was a double-decker bus. And it was, we had been doing shows, you know what I'm saying, blue tired, getting on the bus, loading up at 2 a.m. It was a long night, so I was the first one down. And usually I come down with everybody, we all board at the same time, but tonight, I just wanted to get my bags on the bus, get on the bus, sit down, you know what I'm saying, and get to sleep because we had an early start. We was going to drive all night and then perform as soon as we got off the bus. The schedule was tight. So I'm sitting on the bus, and then, I hear somebody coming up the stairs, and I open my eyes, and it's this dude that I don't fucking know standing right in front of my face saying, hey, picture, photo. I was like, dude, what are you doing on the bus, man? Hey, get off my bus.
Right.
Get off my bus. He's like, oh, okay. So he gets off the bus, right? Mm-hmm. And then 5 seconds later, this dude comes running up the stairs. What the fuck? My sister wants to take a picture. What the fuck, nigga? So, as I stood up and planted my right foot.
Here we go.
and got within circumference of her, I socked him as hard as I fucking could. Mm-hmm. And off the bus. And then, I didn't know what was outside the bus. But that was it. I reacted like that because that was the first time like somebody outside of my home, like, what's up, my nigga?
Right.
Was said to me in anger. I am from Detroit.
Right.
Okay.
It's not going down.
I'm not from the South. I've never, haven't had that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I was like, yo, what? And we in Germany, and it had that whole little, it had the accent going. It was a real one. It was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? So I had on sandals at the time. That's why I remember the story so distinctly. And so I'm trying to kick this guy under this car and with some sandals. It's made a fantastic sound. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then, this little, his peoples came and was like, oh, no. And then my peoples came. It was a big to-do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the worst experience. You know what I'm saying? But I've never been like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, cornered, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, I've had a different experience, though, because I guess when you have some type of popularity or celebrity, your threat level goes down to people. Yeah.
They feel like they can approach you.
Your threat level goes down.
You're very approachable.
Yeah. It's like you guys,
you might not want to do that. All willy-nilly.
Yeah, stop poking the polar bear with the stick.
Wow. That little interview with Xzibit yesterday was crazy.
I think you need a throat lozenge or something.
Hey, man, I've known Xzibit ever since he was a kid, man.
Remember
before
that song,
he
Let Me Kill My Throat? He should have cleared his throat.
Let me, okay. Yeah. And the classic Johnny Mack, Let Me Kill My Throat.
Let me clear.
So, yeah, this is the voice of reason. I don't know whose microphone that is. Probably Veronica's headpiece. That's just, she's in a wind tunnel right now.
Hysterical.
But it's all right. But let me just say this. I try to do these conversations. I try to put them on and create the platform so we can have varying opinions and perspectives, because America, we really need to sit down and have these kind of conversations more often. Number one, racism will always exist if black people continue to participate in white supremacist infrastructure, societal infrastructure. But it'll always exist on the other end if white people never acknowledge shit. See, white people, like Johnny Mack said earlier, are in denial. See, they don't know they're racist because, let me just say this. This comes up a lot. Hey, I wasn't back there. My ancestors, I don't know anything about that. But that doesn't mean you don't benefit from the system they put in place.
Right.
And what happens is white people get hella amnesic, right? When you bring up, hey, you do know you benefit from this system in this way, and this causes a racial divide, whether it's an economic gap or an educational gap. You're benefiting from a racist institution, and you may not know it's racist. You may not know the details, but that don't stop you from benefiting.
I believe they do know that they're racist.
Well, I'm just saying they play dumb. The denial. Hey, what is going on?
That's just to pacify that black person who they're talking to, or they're talking to the media. It's like my man, like my Immortal was saying. I know whatever crime I committed to get in there. I know what I did. Yes or no? I know whatever I did to get in this situation. I know I did this crime. So, and I may say, no, Zo, it wasn't like that. Dude wrote up on me. But deep down inside, I know the truth. So every white person that screamed that I didn't know that was a racist term. I didn't know I was doing something. I didn't know. Yes, you did know.
48 laws of power.
You just didn't know that where we was going to call you upon is going to be manifest to the world. But you did. You knew when you didn't hire that black dude that had that master's that was way more qualified than that white dude. I worked on a movie. And this lady was a EP, and she had a degree in agriculture. And here I am, a full-fledged writer on hit TV shows and movies, and this bitch is above me. How is that? She got a degree in plants. How is she running the film division? They know exactly what they doing. They would tell you like, oh, I didn't know I couldn't shoot this kid 16 times. Oh, we didn't take 84 minutes worth of footage out of the Burger King surveillance camera. Yes, you did. You knew that. You didn't, but you didn't think you was going to get caught in your lie.
Always play dumber than your mark. 48 laws of power.
And that's what's happening. That every cop, like I said, it started from police, racism in police. Every cop know what they're doing. They know. In 1985, the Supreme Court passed a law that you cannot shoot an unarmed citizen or a fleeing felon. And so when the case came up with my man, they brung the Darren Wilson situation. They brung him the law from 1984 on down. You know fucking well that this law was no longer in existence because you have to look up that law,
right,
to present it to the people.
Well, Johnny, speaking of the people,
in 1991,
Johnny,
New York.
You just gonna keep going. He at the Foxxhole. I know what it is.
This is for Immortal.
We ain't worked together in a long time. He at the Foxxhole.
No, this is my last. It's for Immortal.
This is not the Foxxhole, bro.
Immortal.
This is the dash hole.
In 1991, the state of New York ruled against the chokehold. But when they choked my man Gardner, they said the grand jury didn't find enough to bring him to trial.
Right.
But that's your law that you can't use the chokehold no more. So which one is it? They know exactly what they're doing. That's how I want to get out.
Thank you, Johnny Mack.
It was worth it.
Listen, we got phone callers, and they've been on for a long time.
Yeah.
They gonna kill us.
Immortal, do you want to interface with some of the callers, my friend?
Sure, brother, no problem.
Absolutely, man. Let me just say once again, thank you, brother, for taking the time to chime in on tonight's conversation. Part 2 of our racism series on Hot Button Radio, Dash Radio. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me, and I also appreciate everybody's experience because I hear, people talking about what they've personally been through. And I want to remind people that hear these stories and think that either myself or Mr. Mack or you are angry. It's not that we are angry. We were hurt before we were angry.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell my story about the first time I encountered police because it's a long story, and I think I've told enough long stories.
You have told a few.
I'm going to take these. I'm going to take these calls, but I guarantee you, one day, brother, I will sit down and tell you that story. And we're not angry.
Right.
We're hurt because we see this happen to our people. And if you can't acknowledge that suffering, then you want us to acknowledge your suffering. So you can acknowledge every suffering in the world except ours. That's the problem that I have with it. My life, I've been told to never forget. And I never will forget the Holocaust. That was a horrible thing that happened. It urged people to fascism. I will never forget 9/11. Do you know why? Because I'm from New York, and I realize what happens when you give people money to overthrow other countries. You never know because you can't control them. I won't forget 9/11. But you know what? When I'm told to forget slavery or get over a Native American Holocaust, that's hypocritical to me, and I won't get over that. I will never forget that. I will never forget the people who were the ancestors of mine who were thrown off of a ship because they just couldn't afford to feed people there. I will not forget the people that built this country for the people that claimed to build this country.
You're right.
All right, so listen, that's awesome. Let's get these callers in here because, God damn it, my team in here is hella unmanageable.
No, it's just me. I apologize.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm doing great, by the way. Can I just get
Whitney, I'm doing good. by the
Johnny,
way.
I didn't think anybody was wilder than me, so I appreciate
apologize.
you, Johnny. Love you, boo.
Hey, listen, let's go to Miami. Line 3,
yes.
Mr. Z on the line. Mr. Z, you're on the Voice of Reason. Holler at us. Mr. Z,
Put your antenna up.
2, 3, and
Scene.
bye.
He
See you
wasn't
later.
Mr. Right.
Let's go to line 5, Ronan, Indy.
Oh, yeah.
What up, Ronan? You're on the line.
boy,
Speak on
Ronan.
it.
Hey, what's good, family?
How
Hey,
art
Rona.
thou?
Yeah, man.
Poppin'.
Holla at us, man. You got something to say to Brother Immortal Technique?
Well, yeah, I'm good. I'm kind of mad at myself because I wanted y'all to keep going. Y'all was carpet bombing the shit out of
Well,
me.
you shouldn't have called.
Well, then,
You can hang up right now.
Look.
The fuck?
But you guys said earlier, about the solutions about the black community. I learned everything changed when I listened to George Carlin to question everything. And I've had people tell me to, know my history and control my dollars. And you start wondering as to why, in certain, what I noticed when I looked around, I noticed in certain areas that other cultures had their share of identities that we don't. And why are a lot of churches in immediate areas and you see a lot of poverty? And that's why I always question the people, you need to stop learning how to turn the other cheek. You got to learn how to get back to embracing the idea of economic empowerment. You have to ask yourself, why are most of these pastors allowed to put fluoride in your face? Or why are certain things happening? Because, I'm marching, but that's like snatching a twig off a tree. You have to learn how to put your money into buy, rent, and lease politicians. Change legislation through, the local, state, and even, upper levels of government. So that's why I said they're like I want to talk to Immortal Technique. It's like, what else do you think we should do as an individual besides sit there in line on Black Friday and, basically wait for one leader to represent all of us instead of like take our own turns and lead in our respective ways as a unit?
Well, one thing that I will say is that idea that there's one leader, one messiah that's going to come save all of us, that is about as dead as Woodrow Wilson. You can't have a singular entity that's just going to do that. The two, you asked about specific things that could be done. One specific thing I always tell people is to dispel the mythology. Everybody has a mythology about race or about religion. See, I have to understand, from one perspective, you can look at it and say, okay, let's dispel the negative mythology about us, all right? And then you start dispelling the negative mythology about everybody in general. Are white people superior to black people? No, not at all. Are black people superior to white people? Are they superior to them in terms of a society? Well, ask yourself about the society that's been created. When Europeans colonized African and indigenous people, did they do it with a better society? Did they replace what we had with a better relationship with our women? No. What they did was create a better killing machine. So if we judge the advancement of our society based on a better killing machine, does that mean that the Nazis were superior to the Jewish people? Does that mean that the Pilgrims and the settlers were superior to Native Americans? No. They just built more efficient killing machines until you confront the mythology of every nation, until you realize that the people who ran this country, yes, it's not a mystery to call them Masons. That's not a conspiracy theory. But the reality about a Mason is that he knows the history not only of Europe, but of Africa. So you're going to tell me that a person who knows the complex history of Nubia and Ethiopia and Eritrea and Egypt truly believes that a black person is lesser than a white person? Or do you think that they just thought that and made themselves believe that because, as you guys were quoting the 48 Laws of Power, you're talking about a mark? Well, of course, you're dealing with a person that pretends they're stupider than they are. They're actually really smart, but they're pretending to be stupid because they pretend they don't understand the consequences of their ramifications. If you tell someone, hey, here's a gun, go shoot someone, I become responsible for that crime. If I incite racist hatred against black people or against indigenous people or against undocumented immigrants, am I responsible if someone flips out and kills someone? That's the problem. We're held responsible for the incitement of violence. Other parties and other people are not. We can't do that until we destroy that mythology. Everybody breaks the law at least twice a day, brother. Some people more than that. But they decide who they're going to
I didn't break any laws today, though.
I did.
Yeah, you did, John.
No, I didn't. I didn't break no laws today nor yesterday.
Yeah, you did. Hey, I appreciate the call, Ronan. The phone lines are blowing up. It's crazy. We've got to get these callers in. Let's keep it rolling. This show has flown by. So now it's time for the voice of the people.
Voice of reason people.
The voice of reason folks are in the building. Let's get them in here. Hustle from Miami.
Yes.
Line 6. What up, Hustle?
Hustle.
Yes.
Hustle, you on the line, pimp? Hustle.
Hustle.
Hustle always got fire.
I'm about to drop you, Hustle. Is he there or no?
He ain't hustling.
He got to hustle to the phone, I'm thinking.
All right, then. Peace.
Maybe he's out hustling.
Ooh,
Yeah,
there it is.
we got to roll. Shit, we got to roll. Simi from Atlanta, line 1. You're on the line. Simi, you have let yourself come to a pass. Where is Akeem?
Oh, no. You sound just like that. You sound just like him.
My son works.
That's what I was waiting on. I
Where's
wanted
Akeem?
one, my son works.
Here we go.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Speak on it, bro.
First of all, hey, how you doing? So I gotta say thank you to you. First of all, you introduced me to Krishnamurti and David Baum.
Yeah,
man. A few years ago, you had a show on when you were on RMC, and you held up the Baum's book.
Wholeness and the implicate order.
Exactly. I ordered it that day, and from that point on, I went.
Did you
and
read
got, Krishnamurti books after Krishnamurti books. Truth and Actuality, Freedom from the Known.
Yeah.
But I say that to say this. There was a quote that Krishnamurti has, and it speaks to understanding. And I think that our issue with white people is based in understanding and their lack of in terms of what we go through on a daily basis. And I want to touch back actually to something that he also says a lot, and that's the revolution of the mind and the internal revolution on an individual basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that outside of just the African American community, that revolution, it has to be amongst white people as well. I'll use my own personal experience just with our own people. You guys spoke about the illusion of inclusion earlier. I work in LaGrange, Georgia, which is about an hour and 30 minutes south of Atlanta. And it's a very rural and country town. A lot of what you would consider to be rednecks or just a hick mentality. And there's a sister that I work with, and she is as chocolate as anything, just lovely. And she does not like anything black. She does not like dating black guys. She doesn't listen to black music, what we consider to be black music. And she has joined, when she was in college, she joined a white fraternity. I mean, it's a sorority. And me being a city person, I just found it to be so odd and strange, this level of disdain for your own people. And that's certainly not something that I grew up around. So every day when I come to work and I have an opportunity to talk to her, and it's just like, wow, we are just so lost across the board.
How many black people do you work with? It's just you and her? How many black people do you work with?
Oh, it's Johnny Mack. Oh man, hilarious.
Thanks, man.
I work with. Yeah, it's okay. I work in a carpet manufacturer company. I'm a designer there, and it's I'm gonna say maybe 4 other black people there. We got like this moist guy that works there. I don't really think he counts.
He said moist. His drawers got wings.
Wait, y'all work with carpet and she bougie? Bitch, get your
Okay, I've had enough.
We're designers. We design carpet, but that's another story. But she and bougie, I would say, is a loose term, more like lost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like, it's so sad because she's talking about dating this Asian guy, and I'm like, baby girl, that boy don't want you. His mama them already got selected who he gonna be with. You know what I'm saying? And he not gonna bring you around them. And she got more than like 24, 25. And I mentioned her.
Is she attractive?
At all. From the neck down.
Okay, that's all I need.
She got body.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But I say that to illustrate the point of the illusion of inclusion. She believes that by making herself whatever, as she coined it, well-rounded, she will be somewhat more accepted. Or something. And it's just sad to see that in the 21st century, especially with somebody so young, because I'm 33, and I can't.
You sound 72, though.
Looking good.
Oh, man. Oh, damn. Old soul, I guess. But I found that to be just disturbing to me, man. I even went off on her one time. You know, she was like listening to like some Justin Bieber or some shit like before like 8 in the morning. And it was just
Simi.
nuts. Like I couldn't identify.
Yeah,
Simi.
That would have drove me crazy too.
I like Justin Bieber.
Simi, I thank you for calling, Simi,
Thanks,
but
Simi.
you are long-winded. I would like for you to get to your point so we could move on to the other callers. Is there something of meaning you'd like to
You just want to
contribute?
go in on her.
You should go in on her.
No, I just wanted to use that as an example to further illustrate the point, or a live example of the illusion of inclusion that you guys spoke to earlier, because that's really going on out here. That's all I wanted to speak on. So I'm sorry for taking too long to get to that
you
point.
on the phone like
when you go
chilling.
back to work,
I bet you had
He
your
got his
feet
feet
up. You
kicked
was like,
up.
He had shout outs.
he was keying and everything. Good looking.
When you go back to work, Simi, you should go in on her. Just give her a little knowledge and like, hey, sweetheart, I love you too. Just do that. Say, I love you too, because you fine.
So she's probably not listening. So
Right.
She ain't gonna listen.
Hey, so listen. I'm just gonna say this.
Say that.
You know how people say, we had Joy DeGruy on, Dr. Joy DeGruy. And she broke down something that was hella poignant when she talked about
Spell that. Spell hella.
Hella, Hella.
Okay.
Boom.
Yeah. I know a couple of girls named Hella. Anyway, town business, man.
Yeah, town business.
But no, she made a point distinguishing white racism from black racism. And really, I'm going to add to it. She was basically saying black people can't be racist because we don't have a system.
That's true.
To enforce racism on other people.
That's true. Segregation.
Now, white people have a system. They had Jim Crow. They got all types of shit in place.
Voting Acts right. Yeah.
Voting Acts right.
Yeah, that's true.
Home, real estate, banking. Niggas can't get loans.
Jobs,
this is everything.
Yeah.
They got a system to say, because I don't like you, I'm about to segregate you in different segments of the. This is why I said
that's true.
Racism and classism are some dysfunctional, ugly little cousins, right? But let me say this.
Do you believe what she said?
No, I'm about to up the ante.
Okay.
I believe black people are racist
They're not.
when they participate in a system that was designed to segregate them.
It's not true.
I believe if you willingly participate in a system that you know, because nowadays you can't say black people don't know this system is fucked up. I've had granddaddies and great uncles and aunties say, this is the white man's world, play by his rules. When my son went to school down in the South, everybody said, no, he gotta behave a certain way. And those white people ain't used to that.
Nigga, you having an asthma attack? What's going on?
I'm just saying,
Somebody has asthma.
Nobody, whenever they talk to me about him, they were always saying, you have to behave a certain way. That means you are aware of the system that's in place.
Right.
And if you're aware of the system that's in place and you're still participating, that makes you, just like saying, if you there with the nigga selling crack, and you acting like you
first of all, why you looking in my eyes? You talking about crack?
I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying.
That was
Mack,
racist
I know
right there. That was racist.
I'm just saying, if you're there and you're participating, you're an accomplice to it. At least you're an accomplice to racism, black man.
And this is why KRS-One is so dope, because KRS-One was the one that said hip hop was born because we were tired of buying into our parents' America. It was our parents begging and pleading to become a part of America. Please let us in. Please do this. Please let us be a part of this. And when hip hop was born, it was like, y'all don't want us? Fine. We're going to create this culture for us, by us,
Boo-boo.
to stimulate us.
Do you?
I kind of halfway agree.
You always halfway agree. You're a contrarian.
No, it's true.
It's what you do.
Like you said, when your son went to school down south, I don't know where he went to. It's a certain way he should act, right? That's what the people told you.
Everybody.
That's what he said.
Everybody's like, hey,
but it's a certain
put your
way.
head down.
It's gonna sound really crazy coming from me. It's a certain way that I have to act. Like I was at this event last night, and it was all white except 5 black people. It's certain things I got to conduct myself a certain way.
Or otherwise, you'll be labeled.
First of all, I won't get a job no more
you
in
gotta
Hollywood.
represent your whole culture too.
But see,
but my culture,
Johnny Mack, I
but
hear
what
what you're saying.
If I go out and I'm screaming, like I've been in, and Zoe know me very well.
Right.
We went to fucking some network execs, and I said all the wrong shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess what happened? That show didn't get picked up.
Right. No,
There's certain things I can't.
But Johnny, I hear what you're saying, and that part it's valid. The part that I'm talking about is, we mentioned the 48 laws of power. Never look smarter than your boss. When you go down south,
that's actually true.
When you go down south as a young 18-year-old kid, and you're more articulate and intelligent than everybody on your team, and you can express it, and they're not used to expressive, intelligent, articulate African American males that are assertive. Like, what do you mean? Please explain. That doesn't make sense. That's a contradiction. Can you elaborate? Who's this new nigga?
Right.
So that's the part I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the basic shit you got to do in a job interview situation, but most of this shit is capitulation.
But even what you just said, like on a job, never be smarter than your boss. Like on a show I work on, I'm a writer. So most everybody else on the staff, I'm kind of like above the rest of them. I'm not going, this is going to sound really stupid. I don't want no fucking PA or no background person sitting in my chair with my name on it. Get out that chair. That's my chair. I worked hard to get that chair.
Right.
So therefore, don't be smarter than your boss. But if you can work with your boss and show your boss that you are smart, he going to promote you. I become a fucking staff writer to a supervisor producer, then next thing I'm a producer, and so on and so on. But if I go to my boss and you don't know, my boss is Ralph Farquhar, and I hate you to the word
why
boss.
you dropping?
No, that's because I'm gonna plug my show later
I need
on
you
too.
to stop.
I'm gonna plug my show.
You already good.
I want you to watch the show.
Okay,
but if I
shit.
show Ralph that I'm a great writer, guess what happens? Now I get 2 episodes to write. That's what you have to do. And I'm not showing that I'm smarter than him. I'm just showing that I'm able to write with him and get a better situation for myself.
See, but Johnny, what you talking about is good PR skills.
So
I'm smarter than my boss.
So let's do this, because y'all know we can talk forever.
All day.
Without no water. This is the worst. I've never had.
You got to get your own
My
water.
goddamn
Look.
mouth
Johnny, there's water
My mouth
outside.
is
There's
dry
water
as a
right
cotton
here.
field
You gotta,
right now.
Look, you got.
I didn't see the water.
Let me do this. Veronica, give me
VC.
30 seconds, and then I want to get some callers in here. Veronica, do you understand the angle I'm coming from? Because I know the callers want to talk to Immortal. But do you understand the angle I'm coming from with regards to participation in a sick society? Krishnamurti, my favorite philosopher, says it is no measure of good health to be fully integrated into a sick society.
That's true.
So by participating in a sick society, you become sick.
That's true.
Black people who are participating in this racist system are by default racist. Can you speak to that?
Well, I'll speak to it. I'll frame it like this. So one of the problems that we have in our community is that while white people are very strategic, and they play like they're not strategic, but they are, and we're very emotional and reactive, trying to play like we're strategic, and we're not. The biggest weapon that we have against racism and white supremacy are two things: transparency in technology and the law. Those are the two things that if we had that dialed in, we could actually fight back against this shit. But we don't even, and I'll give you an example. So, you know, we often don't know what it is that we're looking at. We're just often an emotional reaction to the shit that happens to us. But they're being very strategic. So when we look, for example, at, you know, I mean, for example, we fund the cops to kill us because they get paid from taxpayer dollars. Then they have to pay out settlements, right, to the people that they commit brutality against. So there's a whole economic machine that's happening that we're watching happen, that we're funding, but we don't really understand that we're funding it. If you look at the Stand Your Ground laws, which is basically let's go kill Negro at will laws, that shit was going down and got passed in 23 states. And the only reason we figured it out is because we didn't understand that the laws were being passed. It's the same with Wall Street. They went ahead and robbed this economy. They basically almost bankrupted the planet, but nobody could prosecute them because there weren't investigators that were sophisticated enough to understand the options, the algorithms and derivatives and how all that shit worked. So often we're looking at stuff out in the open, and because we are so emotional and reactive and we take all this shit personally and we're not looking at it strategically, we don't know what we're looking at. And it's staring us in the face, but we're not looking at the infrastructure and the way that it functions and the way that it systemically oppresses us.
Okay.
So I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think at a certain point we have to grow up and get more clear about the things that we have to actually see and do to rip it apart. Wow. I just think we've got to get clear about that.
Wow. Listen, if you're not getting fed through this show, then you might not have a soul. You might be dead.
Yeah.
You might be a zombie.
Might just have to.
Let's get some callers in here. Immortal, you ready to handle some of these callers, brother?
Yeah, definitely. I also appreciate what the sister said about how, we may fund them. The sad part of the reality is that they aren't beholden to us. They're beholden to the gatekeepers of that money. In other words, we don't pay the bees for honey, do we? No, we pay the person that grabs the bees and puts them in that container and makes them work for that honey. Right. In the same fashion, the police may be civil servants and they work for us, but the gatekeepers, the people who control the flow of the money that we put into their coffers, whether it be Ferguson, because we know that the black community definitely kept that entire city afloat, but they then, because they have no power to then direct the machine, all they do is pump gas. They never tell the car where to go.
Wow. Here we go. Line 3, Mr. Z, the voice of reason, is available for thee.
He's back.
Hi, Zo. I was the guy that was talking to you on Periscope the other day.
First of all, never say hi, Zo.
Hello?
That threw me off. You said hi, Zo. Let's not say what's up. What up?
Oh, what's up? What's going on, you guys?
Johnny Mack was offended by the way you said hello, brother.
It wasn't
I was
gangsta
offended.
enough.
I was offended by that. Hi, Zo. I didn't like that.
Like, it was.
Okay.
I twitched a little, like, shit.
Hey, boo.
Shout out to Immortal Technique. Now, 1% song is one of the best songs I ever heard in my life.
Yes.
1% Rich Man's World is one of the best songs ever. I just wanted to say, like, for me, when I think about racism, I think about power. I don't care whether, and I'm going to go to a dark place, I don't care whether white people like me or not. I care whether I have the power to keep them from hurting me. You know? Hello?
Yeah. We just this is what it
Would you
sounds
want
like.
us to say hi to?
This is what it sounds like when people listen to you. No, go ahead.
I know, right? I do. But what I mean by that is, okay, so Africa is the most resource-rich continent on the planet. Everybody always say it. But yet, how many aircraft carriers do they have? How many submarines? The motherfuckers don't even have nukes. You know what I'm saying? So what's keeping
Watch your tone.
Europe
We
and
all
America
African in here,
from
Penny.
going back and doing exactly what they did 500 years ago? I don't care how white people feel about me. I just want my people to be able to defend ourselves from them and anybody else who tries to harm us. And we're not at that place, and that's why we continue to get screwed, because we don't have the businesses, we don't have the infrastructure to keep them from harming us. So everything, and Zoe, you said it before, everything that we build is to cope with them. We're trying to find a comfortable place in a white racist system, and it's never going to work. That's what I was trying to tell you yesterday. Power doesn't respect weakness. Power only respects equal to greater power. And we're trying to like sing our way and dance our way and do all these little things that don't mean nothing at the end of the day. They're not going to respect us until like Russia, there's this mutual destruction thing going on where, well, if you kill us, we kill you. If you take off our arm, we take off your arm. I'm tired of being humble. I watch black people be humble for 500 years and ain't get us nowhere. I watch us sing and go to church and go to mosque and go to temple for 500 years, and where are we? We haven't moved 1 inch since the end of slavery. 1 inch since the end of colonialism.
I don't think I agree with that.
I just want to say, I just want to
socially.
I do want white people to like
Okay,
me.
hold on. Everybody can't talk at the same time. Caller, hold on a second. Let Immortal respond, and then Johnny. Immortal, go.
Make it short.
I just wanted to say that, first of all, I understand what you're saying, but there's something incorrect that you've said, that we've been humble for 500 years. And I think we should say that our rebellion has been hidden from us for 500 years. You can't keep a human being a slave, no matter what color, race, creed, him or her. The natural almost instinct of a human being is to rebel against that. The reason that they created a slave kitchen in a smaller entity outside of the main master's home is because the slaves kept burning down the house. If you read a book, very important book by Herbert Aptheker called American and Negro Slave Revolts, it details several incredibly powerful slave revolts that happened that rocked the nation to the depth of its core. Why? Because the slaves that carried out these rebellions were adamant students of the Bible. Gabriel Prosser, Nat Turner, these individuals, Denmark Vesey, right? What do they all have in common? They read the Bible, or they were taught the Bible by their slave master, who read a part in the Old Testament that said, hey, listen, you have to obey your master.
Right.
That's what it says here in the Bible. Right? They read a different chapter of the Bible where here it says Moses says to Pharaoh, let my people go.
Right.
And used that as an example. So let us never believe that we've always been these docile creature comforts bending to become a chair for people. No, we've always had rebellion. As a matter of fact, we proved to the world that in order to keep a man down, you have to stay on top of that man on the ground. That's what happened in Haiti. They sent every single European nation to Haiti, and I've been to Haiti. And those people defeated everybody. They defeated the French.
Yep.
They defeated the British. They defeated the Spanish. So you cannot tell me, sir, that we have been docile. We have been fighting from the very beginning. The people in Haiti, François Toussaint Louverture, he was a humble man in general in terms of how he thought about his people. But in terms of that and that expression, we have always been
And
in
I do.
rebellion. We have always been in revolution.
And Immortal, I do want white people to like me. I want everybody to like me, even Christ.
No, I want everybody to like me.
When you read
Yeah,
your Bible, Christ.
I don't want people to hate me.
Christ came to the disciples and said, "Who do men say that I am?" He was concerned about what people are saying about it. What do they think about me?
Johnny, stop. That's exegesis. Stop.
No.
Stop creating definition.
That's what he said. Who do men say that I am?
That's
He wanted
Matthew.
to know. He wanted to
Johnny
know.
right
He wanted
quick.
to know what the people
He
felt
wanted
about
to know
him.
what people thought about him. He was looking how
"What's
many
up?"
likes he got.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's true.
Shit.
I want to. Here's the thing. If I'm not
Nobody
well
liked my
liked,
post.
if I'm not well liked, they're gonna seek to destroy me. So I do want black, white, Hispanic, everybody, even black people. I want everybody to like me, even my family, my friends. I want everybody, because if I get along with you, if you like me, you would not try to kill me.
I like that.
But if I even let's do black on black. If I don't like Zoe, no, if I don't like Zoe, when I first met Zoe, we didn't like each other, and it went bad. Am I right, Zoe?
It didn't really go that
It
bad.
went bad.
It went bad. It
went bad.
It potentially could have went bad. We had some people that were helping us out. But if Zoe likes me,
Hold him back.
if Zoe, me and Zoe became friends, and now we got a friendship, a brotherhood. So now we don't have that situation no more. If Zoe likes me, he's not gonna be out there trying to hurt me. That's the problem.
Right.
Now I do want people to. If you don't like me, you ain't gonna hire me.
VC's going in.
Immortal. If you don't like me,
Hey, so listen,
They
this
ain't
is
gonna
what
hire
we
me.
listen.
That's what Beyonce said.
Linda, listen. Okay. Too many callers.
We gotta go.
Listen. We gotta let them get theirs off.
Boom.
And then we'll wrap it up. I promise. Let's just roll through these callers because I don't want to disrespect them. They've been on the line.
These are our people.
Let's just give them a
You just
little
want to
piece.
hear them say hi, Zoe. That's what you want to hear.
Cut Johnny Mack's mic off real quick. Yeah. Joe from Houston, line 2.
Hi, Zoe.
Jesus.
What's up, y'all?
What up, Joe? Get at it, man.
I would like to address one thing. There's a point of racism where we kind of forgot that Reconstruction, the Black Wall Street era, was sold out. It sold out people's inheritance through integration. So all the stuff that we're dealing with from a power aspect is because now we're at ground zero when we could have been self-sufficient because we wanted to be integrated instead of self-sufficient. So, because even all this unemployment, that has a lot to do with that. That has a lot to do with the drug culture. That's criminals create with jobs, not people. And as much participation as we're doing to make people happy, we're not saying we're doing that because we're not investing in ourselves and our children and our grandchildren.
Okay, Joe. I'm with you. I smoke a bag of that.
All right.
And we appreciate you taking the time, man, to drop that little piece of nugget on us, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Call us
Joe.
anytime. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Hustle, line 6.
Oh, he's
Let's
back.
get Hustle in here. Hustle, what up, man?
What up? What's going on?
Good, Hustle.
Speak on it, Hustle.
Man, so there's a lot of emotion tied up into this. You know what I mean? It's a heavy topic. So the way I look at it is, I think we need to start looking at this from a scientific method, which is basically the who, what, where, when, and why. Because when you start looking at emotion, it tends to cloud your judgment, you see? So I feel like we got to remove that element to be able to see more clearly. Start trying things like trial and error. If something don't work, don't keep doing it. If protesting ain't getting the answers, try something new. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a lot of knowledge is being dropped tonight, but it's not the knowledge that's power. It's the use of knowledge. So what the hell are we going to do?
The application of it. And you know what, Hustle? Let me just say, man, I smoke a bag of that. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. And I'm going to tell you why that's so meaningful and so poignant. Because it brings me back to the original purpose of today's topic. What you going to do when the next Freddie Gray drops at the hand of a dirty cop? What you going to do? What are we going to do as a people, as a community, as a society? What are we going to do?
Well, I think what we should do is try to get ahead of the situation where the next Freddie Gray don't drop.
Well, how do we do that? That's what this show is about.
Well, you know, the protest.
Johnny Mack, right now, let's go.
What would I do?
Your best idea, right now.
You don't want to hear my best idea because
Yes,
you
I
ain't
do,
gonna like it.
Share it. I like it.
My best idea is going to go in the forms of Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that I should sit by and wait for you to beat the shit out of me before I do something about it. You know, Malcolm X said to you to get your guns, your knives and your guns maybe in the heels. You know what I'm saying? It's to stop. I need to stop you from putting your foot on my neck. I need to stop you from killing me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to govern myself in court and I'm going to drive the speed limit. I'm making whatever I got to do, abide the law. But if you step to me and it ain't cool, I got to do something to make sure I'm not the one getting killed. And we can all figure that all out. I'm going to make sure that I'm not the one getting killed.
Wow.
I'm not here to start a revolution. I'm just trying to make it to work tomorrow morning.
So that's
all I'm trying to do.
This is what I'm going to do from what Johnny just said. We're going to do the final summations now. Because I want to know, what is the next course of action? Johnny gave his. He cited Malcolm X. I'm going to go to Veronica. We got 30 seconds or less to give our summations on what we're going to do. Because it's going to happen. I see this as a play, personally. Right? Everything that happens has a purpose and a reason
in the third act
to get something across. So I know it's going to happen, but my question is, what are you going to do when it does? Veronica?
I think it's two things. I think it's economic. I think, we look at Black Friday now, and because of, I think, our lack of participation, Black Friday sales dropped $1.2 billion. That's just the elephant's nose in the tent, but it shows that we have economic power. I think that's a really important thing. And then I think, I think it's about, I like what Wendell Pierce said recently, which is if you want to get gun control, so we don't have a mass murder a day, which is what we're having, a mass killing a day, just start having black men start registering their guns, and registering them, and see how fast the gun laws change. See how fast it shoots. We've got to begin to use their laws and their technology against them. But that means we have to understand it, and we have to be strategic with it. So I think it's economics, and I think it's strategy.
Okay. All right. Whitney, 30 seconds or less.
Man, listen, I'm just going to, like Veronica pretty much summed it up. I think it's money. Money is power in this messed up society that we are all living in. And until we start to use our black dollar against them, so they really see, we got to kind of be easy with them, then nothing is going to change. As far as police brutality goes, I support self-defense, regardless of color, gender, whatever, against all criminals, even criminals that are in uniform. I'm team self-defense.
Me too.
Aarona.
Two things. I think you make use of video technology on your iPhone and start texting all these text blasts and bullshit Thanksgiving texts that you send to people. You need to send video. I'm serious. You need to video text and conference things when that happens. Start using the technology that's in your hand for more than Facebook and Instagram. Two, I think also we should educate the kids more, so that the kids, when you have knowledge of self, you can gain more power. And then three, I think we need to take all black athletic programs out of major universities, because you saw what went down when the University of Missouri got together. They got the president out there. That took serious action because NCAA sports matter in colleges.
All right. Immortal. Immortal. 30 seconds. This is final summations, Pam.
We done.
This show is almost over.
Johnny, we done. Look at him.
30 seconds, brother. I know you can do it.
All right, I'm going to condense it as much as I can. I'm going to say that we've been talking about a small, tiny group of African people here in America. When you look at the actual diaspora, meaning all of the people that are of African ancestry in America, actually make up a much smaller percentage than they think they do. The largest diaspora of African people is in Latin America. The country with the most amount of people from Africa in it right now is Brazil. What we're missing right now is allies, and the allies that we seek are right in front of us. They are the Latino people, the so-called Latino people who are truly indigenous and African people, many of which have been kept from their ancestry through lies, through a legacy of racism. And I think the only way that we do this is by reaching out across the board to other communities that are suffering from the same exact thing. Also, listen, there are some tips that you can do so you can keep yourself alive. Like, don't talk shit to the cops when you're riding dirty. Also, remember that the upper middle class...
don't ride dirty.
America, the upper middle class abandoned the public education system. So when the sister talked about
educating our children, that means that the school system is not an easy bake oven. That means that when your child comes home from school, you have to help them digest the information that they've got, because there are razor blades in the apples. You understand?
Wow.
That is the metaphor that we're going to use. There are razor blades in your children's apples. They go home thinking that Columbus discovered indigenous people. No, we discovered Columbus lost at sea. That's what happened.
Wow.
They believe that that African workers, that's what they put in that I know you guys have seen that article when the Coffin Mifflin or whoever it was, they put the slave trade as African workers brought from Africa.
Right. So
in Texas school board book.
So
you have to change the public education system. You have to change the curriculum. And if they won't change it, then you as a parent have to take on that responsibility for yourself. Believe me, if you're a parent, you've saved your child's life by letting them walk into traffic at least once when they were like 3 or 4.
Wow.
Now you have to save their life again by re-educating them that the things that had been told in public school are a lie.
There it is. Listen. We're over our time. We got to get out of here. Immortal, I appreciate you, brother. I'm going to reach out to you. We're going to talk again. I would love to have you back, man. This was crazy.
Man.
Part 2's a wrap.
I'll be out on the West Coast. I'm in Miami tomorrow. We are one human race. I love everybody. And get at me, Tech Immortal on IG or Immortal Tech on Twitter. It's been an honor to be with y'all. I appreciate you guys all. And you're really funny, actually, people. I didn't know. I didn't know as much.
Word up. Word up, bro. We'll see you, man.
During the break, I can hear y'all rap to each other. I can hear y'all talk shit during the break.
Word.
God bless you guys. And
Same to you,
luck.
brother.
Get home safe.
All right. Peace.